Welcome to Ready Bet Action. We are talking day 2, round 2. That would be Sunday. Just a lot of numbers there. We're just talking about Sunday games in the NCAA tournament, the round of 32. Oh, man, what a first few days we've had. We are recording this on Saturday, so we have not seen any final results of Saturday games yet. So we'll get to those next week, though, once we start talking about the Sweet 16. We are talking about Sunday. And I want to know from you, Stefan, because we only have a few picks here because these lines are getting tighter. It's getting harder to find value. So we're making sure that we're betting smart and we're going quality over quantity today. So that being said, where have you been surprised? What's been your favorite games? Anything that's really been some highlights for you so far?
Last night, so the last part of round 1 was my favorite part because all my favorite teams were playing.
Yes.
Michigan State is a reason I love college basketball. I'm not a huge Michigan State fan anymore, but that's the team that I was introduced to for college ball. And then I lived in Connecticut for a long time, so I'm a huge UConn fan. And then Oregon is my football team because I don't have local teams. So all of them were playing, and I did like a homer parlay where I just parlayed all 3 of them against the spread. So it ended up being like a pretty nice night for me. All my teams won. All my teams covered.
Yes.
It was fun.
I watched in a bar full of drunken Lobos fans, man, and we were going wild. I'm not a Lobos fan necessarily. I've adopted them, though, living here a little bit. So you can see I've got my hoodie on today. Everyone's stoked for Sunday. Got a rough draw coming to Michigan State, but that was my highlight, was being in a city. If you're in a city where they have a team and that everyone in that city is invested in, and you're all at that sports bar together, like cheering on that team, man, you don't have to be a fan of that team to love that. So that's been my highlight. We talked about this a little bit. We'll do a little Sweet 16, a little teaser for Sunday for a game we're not going to bet. Just a little of what we think of like the Lobos and the Spartans and how that's an interesting game. We were talking about pre-show that I think if everything's even, Michigan State wins that pretty easily. I would never bet on the Lobos to win this game. However, the Lobos have been a very good team all year. And I think if Michigan State shows up, assuming they have a free ticket to the Sweet 16, and the Lobos say, no, we deserve to be here, we're not just happy to be here, that's upset potential, man. That's an upset Sweet 16 spot, I think, for sure. I think that that's one of them. I think we got some other spots there too.
Yeah, I was chatting with you. I was looking for a half to a parlay, and I was thinking about Michigan State because they're right there if you want to do like a money line parlay with something else, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. The value to me is not on taking Michigan State money line at minus 310 or whatever it is, because I see an upset possibility for the Lobos. I'm also not betting that side of it, though, because like you said, Michigan State is so talented. We just saw what they could do rebounding the ball. They got down against Bryant. I didn't slow them down much, though. They really took care of that game in the second half and ended up being not even close.
Yes. There are some really good games Sunday and games that I am excited to watch, but like you were just saying, don't have a pick on. Like St. Mary's, Alabama is another one. I do think Alabama got a little weaker at the end of the season, and I think St. Mary's is a really good West Coast Conference team. I'm not really sure how to measure that game and what I think St. Mary's is able to do. They both started out pretty slow in their games and ended up coming back to win, or Alabama, in their case, more like had to pull ahead, a team they should have been, really handling. St. Mary's really struggled with Vanderbilt. So I don't have a lot of confidence in either team, but I'm excited to watch it. I don't think Colorado State wins against Maryland. That's another money line parlay opportunity if you like that. As you know, when I bet against CSU on this show, I don't win. Against all logic, I don't know what curse I have brought upon myself. I think it's that I grew up in Fort Collins and went to school in Boulder. Yeah, and a curse was put upon me. So I will not be picking that game. And the rest of you can go make money on it if you want to. And yeah, those are just some of them, man. Ole Miss, Iowa State. Dude, Ole Miss looks so good. I'm surprised Iowa State's a 4.5 point favorite. just some great games that we don't have picks for. So still lots of basketball to watch.
The way I thought about that Ole Miss game was teasing Ole Miss to like a plus 10.5 or something like that. Just betting for them to stay in the game. But again, it didn't make the sheet. But that was how I was looking at that game, kind of leaning more to the Ole Miss covering side.
Yes.
Even though, of course, that's a pretty tough opponent that they have. Like
Absolutely.
no gimme. I could see it going sideways against Iowa State as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the Iowa State team is a tough team. That's a tough team. I'll be interested to see how far they're able to go if they can get past Ole Miss. Let's talk about the games we do have picks on, though. Let's kick it off. I'll start with the Duke Baylor game. Hard to find value when someone's such a favorite and is expected to win. I got Duke as my champion in my bracket. I don't really pay much attention to my bracket, but just for reference, man, we got Duke at minus 12.5. Totals 143.5. So naturally, that total is going to be large. A team total for Duke is going to be a little higher. I really like it. I'm going to go with Duke team total over 77.5. Duke is the second highest rated offensive like Ken Palm team. I think they're going to continue to just make. I think Duke's not really going to get a challenge, and they will want to continue to just roll and just rack up big wins, not close wins, until they get essentially to the Final Four. I'm shooing them in there already. So, look at Baylor go upset them now because I said all that. So I'm taking Duke over 77.5. Baylor gave up 72 to Mississippi State in their first game. So
right. And I think too, like it's important to remember that like UConn last year won every game by 13 points. Like
exactly.
They ran everyone out of the gym. It's not, they don't always call off the dogs. They kind of sometimes just keep going.
Yes.
So
absolutely. And I think that does happen with one seeds where we want to think all these games get tight and stuff. But every year, man, there's like a couple of the 1 or 2 seeds that just have no doubters all the way to the Final Four,
Yeah.
We were texting yesterday, and not to make this episode longer than it needs to be, but like, man, really should have picked some 16 versus 1 spreads, man, because there were some bloodbaths and like could have made some money there. But I digress. Why don't you tell us about your Oregon Ducks? You have a parlay. Let's cover your whole parlay. So I don't have any skin in this game. So let's cover your whole teaser parlay you got for us.
Okay, so you were talking about the team you have to win it all in the Duke Blue Devils. I took the Florida Gators in my bracket.
Yep, they're so good.
I didn't think Cooper Flag was going to be back though when I filled it out.
Yeah. Obviously, it's all hinging on him. Yeah.
But Florida is just so good, and UConn, credit to them. They came out, they covered the spread, they got a good win, but it was kind of difficult for them at times when Oklahoma, who is not a big team, we talked about that. That's why we were betting UConn as a show pick. We talked about how they had such a size advantage. Well, they were able to take care of business that way. But when their bigs got into some foul trouble and they had to kind of switch it up, they really struggled to find some offensive scoring. So I think it could be a bit of a trouble for UConn to keep up with Florida. UConn is not the same UConn team that you remember from last year. This has been a very inconsistent team. There's a reason they're an 8th seed. But I don't like the points all that much. I could see this going. I could see Florida boat racing them. I could also see UConn holding it close. So we're just going to take Florida minus 3.5. And then we're going to parlay that with a Oregon team that just looked incredible. We've talked about how good Dana is at coaching. I'm going to take them plus 10.5. So we're going to tease that to 10.5. Florida down to minus 3.5. Yeah, what are your thoughts? I know you hate Arizona, so you'll be rooting for Oregon regardless. But what did you think of their play? I mean,
bro,
Biddle looked real good to me. His hair is awful, but
look, man, like my head coach Tad Boyle for CU and Dana Altman classically have like a feud where they're both pretty petty towards each other. So I don't always love Dana Altman as like a personality. However, how does this man pretty much get his team into the tournament one way or another? And it almost doesn't matter, man. It's like there's really good NBA playoff teams do this too, to where it's like, we don't really care about seeding or how we get in. We just get us in and we'll show you that we're a great team. And that's what Oregon, I thought, looked like last night. I obviously picked Liberty to cover, and that was over in like the first 10 minutes. Like that was wild, dude. They look, and Liberty's a good defensive. I know they're small, and we talked about that, but like they're a good defensive team, and like they're a scorching offensive team. And Oregon just dog walked them, man. Like, I don't know how Dana Altman does it, that he just like is like, cool, man, just give us our seed for the tournament. It's fine, and we will show up and win, you know.
You mentioned this about North Carolina when you picked them in the first four, which cashed, of course. Is that like, if you look at like their last 10, 12 games, they've got 2 losses, but 2 of them were against Duke. Well, Oregon has got 9 of their last 11. Those only 2 losses are to Michigan State.
Yep.
So they're hot right now. Yep. Like Hansel. So hot.
So hot. They're as hot as Hansel right now. Colorado State's another hot team, man. That's why, honestly, besides me having a policy to not pick against them on the show from now on, that's just another hot team of why I wouldn't pick them. Like, we got a few hot teams here that are just, you just can't deny it, man. Like, I don't care what their conference record was or whatever. Like, you just look at how hot they've been the last 3 to 4 weeks, and they are showing up, you know?
Yep, for sure. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Yesterday ended up being pretty profitable for the show, and for me, I've had back-to-back days of hitting a plus $600 parlay. So pretty excited about that.
I'm also this is a reminder for me and you as the primary listeners of this show as well, but for anyone listening, that responsible gambling isn't just like not betting money you don't have. It's also like, which we obviously encourage you to don't be betting anything you don't have, or that's really going to hurt for you to lose ever. However, responsible gambling is also getting up big and having a couple great betting days and then not going and taking big swings because you think that you got it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
The books are smarter than you. Keep your unit management tight for the next couple days and into next round, and you will walk away out of this more up than you thought you could be. So everyone out there, Stefan, me, Mike, when he listens, let's keep it tight, fellas. People, let's keep it tight. All right.
Keep it tight. No, you're so right. Because, you have this big win. You got an extra couple $100 in your account. You're like, I'm just going to put this all here and get up real big.
Yeah. I figured college basketball out. I figured it out,
Yeah. Which is why I'm not going crazy today. Also, I think these matchups are just so intriguing that it's hard to know which way to go with them. And I don't also I don't, this is just a personal thing. I don't like betting so much against my heart that I can't enjoy the games.
Totally.
So I don't want to bet Duke, it's just some stuff like that. But
absolutely.
Or like New Mexico, I don't want to bet against New Mexico. Like,
totally.
I want to be able to root for them, but I also don't want to bet on them. So I'm just going to watch the game and have fun.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. All right, let me give you my last pick since we only got 3 for you, and we'll get this wrapped up. Give me Kentucky plus 1.5 versus Illinois. I'm not like, the wrong team's favored, but man, could we have it? There is not a more even matchup tomorrow than this game. They're literally sitting next to each other in all the Ken Pom important ratings. These two are sitting on top. You can flip the rating and they just flip or whatever. Like, this is the most even matchup. And while I am sacrificing this pick to the sports gambling gods because I did kind of overly fade the SEC coming into this tournament. And while I ended up being right with like St. Mary's, and I'm going to go ahead and call my shot that Arkansas is going to lose today. We'll see. The point is that is a good basketball conference. Give me the team coming out of the better conference who's a slightly better defensive team. Not really a huge factor because they're both pretty even offense, defense stuff. Give me Kentucky, though, plus 1.5. And that way, maybe Illinois wins on a buzzer. Maybe we get a buzzer beater in this one or something. And I'll take that 1.5 instead of the money line. So
you could get any buzzer beater to happen in the tournament for like plus 100 or something like that to start.
Really? Man, we haven't seen one yet. Have we had overtime? We haven't had overtime.
No, not even overtime. Just for the record, I'm on the other side of that Illinois pick. Yep. It's not official for me. I just love this Riley kid. I think he's so fantastic. I was hoping, Illinois coming in after that huge win. I was not surprised at the line, but I was kind of hoping they'd come in as an underdog so I could
Yeah.
take them as a dog. But I don't want to take him as a favorite.
That's going to be one of the best games. Lots of great games. Great game Sunday. All right, let's run it down. Don't forget to follow us on the podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, like and subscribe. Especially go follow us on YouTube. Follow our channel. Interact with us there. Let's run it down. We just have a few quick picks for you for Sunday. I'm going to take Duke team total over 77.5 versus Baylor. Then I will take Kentucky plus 1.5 versus Illinois.
All right, I'm going to take Florida minus 3.5 versus UConn, and I'm going to parlay that with Oregon plus 10.5 against Arizona team that used to be a conference rival in the Pac-12. No longer, of course, but yeah, I think Oregon can keep within 10.
Absolutely. All right, let's go make some money Sunday. Y'all enjoy this last round of the first weekend.